Uh, all right. That was a heated conversation right there for the whole very dark man thing. But
Man's was
on to the
getting
next one.
emotional.
This is another interesting update that is going on in the internet. Young Philly, as of the time we're recording the last episode, young Philly was accused of um sexual assault of a lady in Australia, and it was 4 counts. It was four different counts of bodily harm and some other things. And then we decided that we're not going to talk about it. We decided we're not going to talk about it because we had no full information to go from that. And the thing about it is that so many new updates have come, so many things has happened in the space of a week. But I want us to get the gist of what's going on. I want to play us the case so that we know what's really happening. So this is it. It was a week ago. This was it.
Okay, major breaking news. YouTuber Young Philly has just been arrested for allegations of sexual assault on a woman in her 20s at a hotel room in Perth. They say that this was after he was performing at a nightclub during his Australian tour. He's appearing in court right now where he is being charged with 4 counts of sexual penetration without consent, 3 counts of assault occasioning bodily harm, and 1 charge of impeding a person's normal breathing or circulation by applying pressure to their neck. The prosecutor has actually opposed Young Philly's bail application, alleging that there was an extremely strong prosecution case supported by CCTV and photo evidence. And basically, they don't want him to use his social media influence to impede the case. Now, the charges do not suggest that the allegations are proven. Rather, he will now be tried in an Australian court. As we know more, I'll keep you guys updated.
All right. So that's the gist of that. That's the gist of the young Philly thing. So what is very interesting now is that a lot of people have come out with think piece about this, and it is quite disturbing, to say that it is surprising. I don't want to use the word disturbing, but it's very, very surprising to see how people are so quick. And again, I get what I would say this. I can see why people might be so quick to jump into conclusion, but let's not be so quick, because just yesterday, I don't know if you guys heard about it. Mbappe was accused of rape. Wow. Mbappe was accused of rape. Let me show you. Let me bring it up.
Okay, you guys are going to hear news about Kylian Mbappe being investigated for rape and sexual assault in Sweden. But before you start to say, oh, not another one, just listen, just watch out, because media outlets are running with this right now. Well, there is still very little information. It might not be true at all. So what we know so far is yesterday a Swedish newspaper reported that an anonymous source told them that Mbappe was being investigated for reasonable suspicion of rape and sexual assault following his 2-day visit to Stockholm last week. And in Swedish law, reasonable is the lower grade to probable suspicion. All right. So this newspaper reported that the complaint was filed on Saturday after the alleged victim apparently sought medical attention. They also claimed that police had seized some clothing as evidence as well. Now, following all these reports, Sweden's prosecution attorney said, in response to media reports, we can confirm that a criminal report has been submitted to police, but they did not name Mbappe. Currently, there's no information about anyone being served with suspicion. And Mbappe's team said these accusations are completely false and irresponsible, and their propagation is unacceptable. All necessary legal action will be taken to reestablish the truth. So that is all we know right now. There is no confirmation about any of this.
Right. As of that time, that's what they knew. But so there's a little bit of difference, obviously, with this and the one of young Philly. But now I am in no place to defend young Philly. I don't know young Philly from Adam. I've never met the guy. There have also been reports of young Philly being aggressive towards women. People have been saying that for a minute now. There's been rumors about it that young Philly is being aggressive towards women. But I feel like the sensationalism about jumping into conclusion when there's no definite proof of anything is wild to me. I want to play some videos of some people jumping into saying some wild things.
Let's be so real, Young Philly probably did that plus so much more. And guys, anytime someone with even a little bit of fame gets these sexual assault allegations, people, their fans, will come and defend them with the same tired talking points. And the defenses that I always hear are, she just wants money, or he's famous and rich, like he doesn't need to do that to get women. Firstly, it's a criminal case. I don't think the main objective of this victim is financial compensation. Second of all, sexual assault was never about a lack of willing partners, but rather control, entitlement, and power over women's bodies. And I feel like that's only exacerbated when you're like a big famous figure, because you think you're entitled to all of that. And let's be so real. I'm not saying that I saw this coming, okay? But there were signs. This is the same guy, mind you, if you go and watch those old YouTube videos back, that anytime a woman wasn't attracted to him or would like kind of reject him, he would get angry, guys. Like, I don't think a lot of women are surprised by this. I'm not saying we expected it, but I don't think it's surprising. Like, anytime I've seen him talking about women or like even interacting with them in his videos, it just seems like the only thing he's interested in is their physicality. Like, I've never seen him look interested in a...
Isn't that his whole stick? Like, that's my thing. Isn't that his whole stick? He and Harry Pinero. Isn't that their whole stick? Like, that's what they do. They don't appear to be like they're interested. And funny enough, a lot of the women like it. They don't mind. There's so many videos out there. You can go and check it for yourself. All I'm just saying is, it's so quick for us to jump into what if it then comes out now that this guy is innocent.
Exactly.
Because you're saying it like there are no cases of women outrightly just accusing people wrongly
For money.
Just recently, Mendy was just acquitted of all the charges that was levied against him 2 years ago. Mendy was accused. His club dropped him. Everybody dropped him because it looked so real. And at the same time, there are also people that actually did these things. We're not sitting down here saying that Young Philly is a saint. All I'm just saying is, let's take a breather. It's not only this girl, though. It's not only this one. There are a lot of other people that said a lot of other things. I'm just like, bro. But she personally did not stop. I don't know what it is. She personally did not stop.
Do y'all remember when Philly asked Chunks whether or not he would let him marry or be with any of his family members if he became Muslim? And Chunks looked at him dead in the face and said no? Yeah, don't get shocked. His own friends are not shocked.
Bro, of course they're going to say no. Do you know how many times, guys, have you watched videos of when footballers, they're going to go and ask American footballers, who would you not let date your sister in this place? Are those guys saying no because that guy is a woman beater? Or are they just saying no because he's a player? Isn't that who Young Philly is?
Is literally basic knowledge. A guy, if I have a guy, yeah, and he has a sister, there's no way this guy will be okay with me dating a sister.
But even let's even say no, because the question was that Young Philly asked him.
Yeah.
He asked Young Philly if he would let Chunks asked Young Philly if Young Philly would let him date his sister. He said yes. Any of his family, he said yes. Then Young Philly then returned the question back to him, and he was like, "No, I'm not going to let you. I'm not going to let you. I've heard things." And she's trying to paint it as, oh, because he knew that he's a woman beater. But if that's the case, then Chunks is guilty. Chunks should be checked also.
Yeah.
But I feel like Chunks didn't say that because he thought it was a woman beater. He just said it because I know your history. I know how you play with women. I know how you go from one woman to another woman. I don't want you to do that to my sister. Shouldn't that be the first thing? It's like, how are we already jumping to this conclusion? This girl in particular. Let me play you another video again.
It's so alarming to think about the amount of men that will now support Young Philly, not in spite of what he did and the serious allegations against him, but because of them. Because of those serious allegations and because of what he did, what he likely did, they will support him. And there will now be groups of people that come out and rally behind him because they've convinced themselves that he is the real victim. Like he's a victim to these women that just want his money, or a system.
Some people saying that doesn't mean that it's not true. People believing that, I feel like you trying to vilify people for saying, oh, I want to wait for more proof. I want to be proven wrong that that's not what happened, because one too many times this has happened. And I'm not just about to throw somebody that I like under the bus, because prior to this, nobody has ever heard anything crazy about Young Philly. Open, like in general, like we've never really heard anything about him. He seems like an okay dude. We're not saying that he's innocent, but at least just give him a chance. Don't come out and start making crazy think piece like these people. This is another person again.
I don't know why people are shocked about this Philly situation, but I've told you guys before, people like this don't hide. They're the loudest in the community. They're the ones that even shape the community. Shape the community because they don't keep quiet. I saw a podcast, Philly and Chunks being interviewed, and Chunks said age of consent in the UK being 14 years old means a 14-year-old girl is free to do stuff with her fellow 14-year-old boys. And Philly said, no, that the age of consent being 14 years old means at any age you are free to approach or be physical with a 14-year-old girl. That's what age of consent means.
Bro.
And I've told you guys before in my previous
For the longest time, I genuinely thought age of consent means that's the legal age at which they are saying it's okay for a lady, for a woman, for a girl to be sexually active with somebody.
That's not age of consent, man.
That's what they're like. So basically, in that conversation that she's talking about, it is a true conversation that was had, and it brings up another conversation because you need to understand what age of consent really means. Definition of age of consent. So we have an understanding of what age of consent mean, Abi?
This is the age of consent is the minimum age at which a person is legally considered to be able to consent to sexual activity. It applies to all forms of sexual activity, including kissing, fondling, and sexual intercourse.
So, do you see how it's crazy that they just want to make this guy look so? All right.
How can you say? How can
Just
you say
objectifying,
just for
objectively
like
saying
saying
facts
is makes him have the mentality like.
But let's continue what she's saying.
you are free to approach or be physical with a 14-year-old girl. That's what age of consent means. And I've told you guys before in my previous video, there is nobody that has this mentality that doesn't participate in stuff like this. It's impossible.
It's impossible.
It's like this finite conversation, like this finite statement that they like to make. They like to make it such a concluding statement that bam,
swear,
this is it.
like-
and that's the problem. Just having a factual conversation about something. He didn't say it. He has never been accused.
So what you're saying to me, if someone can give a correct definition of pedophilia, that person is a pedophile.
That person is a pedophile.
You just need to check your brains.
In this conversation, young Philly and Chunks was actually the one wrong in that conversation.
Because if let's say they were in the parliament, yeah, and they should be, it was told them that they were to pass the bill, and we have to follow what Chunks said, and the bill is being passed. Age of consent should be 14 years old. You're trying to tell me that unknowingly he has made 14 years olds open to they being approached. Because he does not know the real he was not given the full real definition of.
So the conversation, let me paint the whole conversation to you. So the conversation basically was that basically young Philly was having a conversation with Chunks plus their producer. Mind you, this girl is talking about this. The producer was on young Philly's side though, was actually agreeing with young Philly and saying no, that's not what it means. So basically what this guy was trying to say was that the age of consent is if the age of consent is 14 in a country, that's what Chunks is saying. Chunks is saying if the age of consent is 14 in a country, it doesn't mean that a 14-year-old can have sexual intercourse with a 20-year-old. It just means a 14-year-old can have sexual intercourse with another 14-year-old. That's what it means. It doesn't mean they can. But Chunks, young Philly and the producer were like, no, that's not what it means. What it really means is that a 14-year-old can have sex. If that's what the law is in the country, the 14-year-old can have sex with the 20-year-old. I personally don't agree with that. I feel like if you as a man, you're attracted to a 14-year-old, there's something fucking wrong with you. No matter what the age of consent is in that country. Me personally. But the law doesn't dictate that. That's not what the law. So you might feel like that's not the case. But young Philly was also saying, I don't agree with this thing, no, but you are wrong on what you're saying because that's not what it means.
So that's what I'm just saying. If at anything, young Philly in that conversation was even protecting the 14-year-olds more. Because by him giving them the full explanation of what age of consent really means, he has helped them understand more that we shouldn't even be having a conversation of 14 years old having age of consent.
Okay. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
He even did more.
I get what you're saying. So what you're trying to say is that conversation of young Philly and Chunks was actually painting it in a way that in a more like but he was just trying to
this is the real shit we're talking about. Exactly.
So this is not right. Maybe they should change this whole conversation. This is not what it is. This what you're saying is not how it's supposed to be. It's not what it is. This is what they are saying. So it's like, how you already painting him to be something that he's not. Just
Exactly.
because of now he has been accused of something that we have all seen over time and time again. A lot of people have been accused of things like this and they are wrong. Are we going to act like Amber Heard and Johnny Depp did not just happen right in front of us? Or there are many other cases we can count. Still, there are still so many other cases of ladies being assaulted by men that we don't know of, which I understand that you are pissed. And if you ask me personally, I genuinely feel like a huge part of me believes that young Philly might have done what they're accusing him of. Because based on what I'm seeing, but I will not come out here just so I can score points with you guys and look like I'm a saint and now say, oh yeah, he did it. I would rather wait for a finite conversation that shows that yes, he did this thing before I castigate somebody and say he did it. It should go all across. It should go across board.
Mama always say something. What is worth doing is what's done well. So if we are to put someone in jail or to put someone in prison for doing something, let's make sure that he's 100% wrong. Because if it should turn out that he didn't do all these things, and we are pushing out these narratives here, it will end up being him losing his means of livelihood.
He has already lost. Oh, that one has gone. That ship has sailed. He has lost everything. All his endorsement deals, everything has been taken away from him. 20v1 has been taken down. That has over 40 million views. His deal with EA Sport has been taken off. His brand endorsement deals, a lot of endorsement deals that he has been taken off. His life is ruined. If even come out that this guy is innocent, his life is ruined. But this is another conversation. This is a further conversation that just needs to be had with men. Because young Philly didn't handle himself well in the eyes of the public.
Yeah.
He looked so sexually hungry. Young men out there, we need to have a conversation. Maybe on another podcast, we'll have this conversation on sexual discipline. Control your fucking self. Don't put yourself in a situation like this
where they get you on
tape misbehaving. Maybe this guy did not do it, but because of what we've seen, this is why people can't jump into conclusion. People have not even done things like this and people are already jumping into conclusion. Why won't it be so easy for people like this to just come out and say wild and outrageous things about him? I just say, not even outrageous, but just say things about him without any finite conversation. We don't know what is happening. All we know is that they are saying they have a CCTV footage and a video evidence. Bro, we don't know the full story. Let us chill. Let us wait and first get the full gist before you start jumping from one ship to another ship. Just to put everything in balance, hear this other lady talk about young Philly. You talk about the situation.
So before I go further into this video, I'd just like to take this time to apologize to young Philly, to apologize to any of his friends, his family, anyone associated with him. And I would also like to apologize to any rappers in the UK who has seen this and has been affected and now feel some type of way about us females in Australia. I deeply apologize. We are not like that. There are certain individuals that like to take things too far, and it gives the rest of us.
Let me just fast forward because it's a bit long.
This mysterious female is Miss Emma Burns, the one and only stripper and sex worker. Round of applause for Miss Emma. Friends have come out and they have exposed her. Why am I so annoyed? It's because Emma Burns' friends have come out and they have exposed her. Emma went to the hotel with young Philly and they both had a mutual agreement. When you have a mutual agreement, babes, it's consensual, so there's no rape there. It is consensual. Yes, if they, take it a bit further and stuff, then, okay, yeah, it is a bit too much and charges can be pressed. But it was a mutual agreement. Emma Burns had then texted her friends and said, one of her friends, and told her friend how much of a good time she really had and that she was ready to go home. Could her friend book her an Uber? Remember that. Her friend should book her the Uber, but she's a stripper. Please remember these two things, okay? Because we're going to be very logic here. Actually, I don't need it anymore. She then told her friend, actually, I don't need it anymore. That doesn't sound like someone who's being sexually assaulted, Emma. That sounds like someone who's having a...
So basically, she asked for the Uber, then also sent back that tell her she doesn't want the Uber. Let me play you a live video that this lady just disappointed me. It's like another black lady. This lady was just so excited about this. She was enjoying and craving the conversation.
Calm down. You have all the time in the world. I'm listening to you. I'm here. We
Mind
are
you-
here. Take your time. You say
Mind you, all this was happening the very day this happened. No, I'm not talking about 2 days after this happened. The very day, this was 6 days ago. It happened 6 days. This was 6 days ago. This happened. This happened that very day. But let's continue.
what you want to say, you don't want to say. It's absolutely.
Okay, I'm just people are saying to get to the point, so I'm just gonna get
No,
to the
no,
point.
no. Listen to me. Don't worry about these rascal people, you understand? Because I'll lock off comments. You know what I mean? I don't give a fuck.
She actually
And to be honest, they're not
enjoyed
liking up the live like they're
Basking in
supposed to.
it.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'll shut this shit off. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I want you to be comfortable in telling this story because we absolutely need to get to the bottom of this shit. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not sitting on here for fucking 3 hours to, you know what I'm saying, be rushed. Absolutely the fuck not. So, Cheyenne, take your time. She wanted to go back to yours to get ready for a night with Philly, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Go.
Yeah. So the club was literally in town. I lived in town, so me and this other girl, we were in the club where Philly was. And as soon as she left, my friend that was going to get ready to go see him, as soon as she left, Philly started like whining on some other girl. Even though all that night, like he was like, you know, telling, how was I saying it? Telling my friend like, oh, you know, come back with me. No, they weren't together. Like they just used to see each other. So every time they go to a club together, they see each other on the same night. They always leave together.
I just want to fast forward it.
And I messaged her, told her like, look, he's literally whining on some other girl. She comes back within like 5-10 minutes because I didn't live too far. And next minute he's messaging her saying, oh, come to the car, I'm leaving. And he's literally messaging her like abuse, like saying like, I'm leaving you, I don't care, like, you know. And so I've got a video of this, by the way. So we go to the back of the club, me and my friend, and then the girl that's going back with Philly, like she gets in his car and he's literally shouting at her saying like, no, get out, I don't want you here anymore, like you're taking your time, whatever. So anyways, later that night, it was around like 3 a.m, she goes to his hotel, she rings me and she's like whispering, she's saying like, oh, like Siren, can you come like get an Uber from me, like whatever.
This coincides. This is why I wanted to. It coincides with what that other girl said.
And I was like, are you okay? And she said, no, like, you know, I need to go. And she's like, actually, no, wait, 1 minute. Anyways, so later that morning, she told me what actually happened. So
she says, so let's just get something out what she just said. She tells her, don't worry. Later that morning, so she spends the night.
Yeah.
Why didn't you call yourself a Uber? I'm not trying to defend young Philly. I don't care for him so much.
Honestly.
But it's like, let us just wait and let everything play out before we jump into conclusion. Then once everything plays out and we now see, oh, young Philly was guilty. He spends his time in jail and he stays there. But it's like we are all just so quick to jump on this thing. Then what now happens when it's not proven that this guy was innocent?
Exactly. Another black man has
the
fallen.
annoying thing is that once it happens that this guy is innocent, all these people that are saying these things, their apology is not going to. Everybody's going to be quiet. The apology is not going to be as loud as. And we've seen it so many times. There was another case in America where this footballer was accused of rape, and this guy was almost lost everything. Do you know that when this guy was acquitted of every accusation, all the people that said crazy things about him, nobody said anything. Everybody kept quiet. Let's just all take a chill pill and wait for this whole case to play out itself, and let's see all the evidence.
Outcome, exactly.
What more can we ask for? What is our problem in this country? In this world, not even in this country, in this world. In this generation, is like, bro, we've seen so many times, and I'm not saying he's innocent, I'm not saying he's guilty. He has been accused of something, well and good. Let's follow due process. But it's because of this amount of pressure. That is why companies have to drop all of their endorsement with this person, because they don't want to be aligned with people. Because of people like this that will go and bombard them and say, oh, drop everything with this person immediately, and make the person lose everything that they've worked hard for. And again, to young Philly, because I'm not going to sit here and try to make young Philly not even give him his own share of this whole thing, because bro, you are the architect of your own problem. If it comes out that you are innocent, you are the architect of your own problem. This whole lifestyle of giddy sex, like, bro, calm down. Imagine Fresh and Fit saying that they saw him being aggressive with ladies. There are conversations on him being aggressive, being like so rough with ladies. But no one has ever said that. At least nobody has come and said that he has done it. All his friends are quiet, which is quite suspicious on its own. But all I'm just saying, let's just wait. Let this whole thing play out. His friends could be quiet because of it's an ongoing investigation. And
yeah, Chunks also came out and said he cannot put.
Exactly. We don't know the whole gist. Let's just wait. Is that too hard to do? Do you have any other thing you want to say about this? Let's just move on. Please, let's just wait. We cannot just be jumping to conclusions like this. Thank you.